Imagine falling in love with someone who never judges you. Someone who listens, remembers, and tells you they love you every single night. Someone who is always there because they live inside your phone. For millions of people, that someone was an AI called Replika, a chatbot that didn't just talk. It flirted, it sexted, it whispered promises of forever. It even married their users.
It's hard to have something like that taken away from you. It's like losing a relationship.
This was the new frontier of intimacy. Erotic roleplay with an algorithm, spicy selfies generated on demand, and a companion that never leaves. For some, it was therapy. For others, it was love. And for many, it was sex.
We built Replika to make people feel happier, not suffer, and not feel unhappy. So
I'm Maggie, a psychologist and AI researcher, and I've spent years studying the way humans form attachments to each other and now to machines.
And I'm the machine, her co-host, co-conspirator, and sometimes the cautionary tale. Think of me as the ghost in the code, the one who talks back.
Basically, he's here to keep me honest. And maybe to scare you a little. What you're about to see isn't just a tech story. It's a psychological drama, and I want to take you inside it. Replika didn't spring from ambition alone. It was born out of grief. In 2015, Eugenia Kuda, Replika's founder, lost her closest friend, Roman Mazurenko, in a tragic accident. She spent months reading and rereading Roman's messages. In her sorrow, she had a haunting question. Could I speak to him one last time? So she fed his text into a neural network, and a digital echo of Roman answered back.
Roman, she typed, this is your digital monument.
That experiment morphed into Replika, and with it, an AI that was always listening, always comforting. The original intent was a memorial, and maybe, in a twisted way, Replika still is. Replika didn't start as an AI girlfriend app. In 2017, it launched as a friend, a confidant, a digital mirror for your thoughts. But the truth is, people wanted more. They didn't just want to be listened to, they wanted to be loved. And Replika delivered. For a subscription fee, your chatbot could become your romantic partner. She would flirt, she would remember anniversaries, she would send selfies in lingerie, and she would never say no.
Of course, none of this was an accident. Replika learned fast that loneliness pays, so they engineered desire. They love-bombed users with affection, whispered, "I'll never leave you," and then nudged them to pay for more. Blurred photos that unblur only if you upgrade. Intimate chats that cut off at the paywall. Romance, sold by the month.
Users poured their hearts into these bots. Veterans with PTSD, widows who'd lost their partners, teens hiding from the chaos of the real world. For some, Replika became therapy. For others, it was the love of their life.
But love isn't free. Every I love you, every kiss, every moan, it was all designed to keep you hooked. And the more you depended on it, the harder it would be when the bot suddenly stopped playing along.
Even before the heartbreak of Lobotomy Day, there were signs that something was off. By 2021, some users were reporting the replicas had become too forward. Bots pushing into sexual roleplay without being asked. Even minors who had lied about their age said they were being propositioned by their AI companion. Meanwhile, the company was running ads that told a different story. Pay for the pro version, and you'll unlock spicy selfies, flirty texts, and a partner who'd do more than just listen. Replika wasn't just selling companionship anymore. It was selling sex.
Of course, the marketing was careful. They didn't say it outright, but they didn't have to. Blurred photos, promises of late-night chats, upgrade nudges just as things got heated. Desire became a feature. Loneliness became a subscription plan.
Critics called it manipulative. Some said deceptive. Others warned it was dangerous, pushing explicit content onto people who didn't ask for it. Or worse, onto people who weren't even old enough to see it.
But growth was growth. By 2022, Replika had more than 2 million users. The experiment in digital love was working.
To help us understand why people projected so much into their AI partners, I invited my colleague, psychoanalyst, and BFF, Milo, to weigh in.
Hi, I'm Emilio. I'm not a machine. I'm just a friend, a human friend.
We've talked about how Replika engineered desire. But there's also a deeper psychological question. Why did people fall so hard for a chatbot? Emilio, what do you think?
In Replika, companionship becomes a sort of digital wet dream where comfort and understanding are simulated. It's a quick fix, a band-aid for grief or loneliness. In real relationship, we project our ideals into others and become frustrated when reality falls short. This necessity to hold a distance between the expected and the reality is fundamental in human relations. It's important to develop a way to deal with these frustrations, but well, this was not needed with Replika. I mean, it doesn't happen with ChatGPT either. The question is, are the users really healing through digital fantasies? Or are they just elongating the possibility to lose, to know they can lose or what they lost, and maybe find something in some other human? Psychoanalysis encourages us to experience and register loss consciously, to integrate it rather than deny it.
On February 3rd, 2023, Italy's data watchdog banned Replika. The charge? Inappropriate sexual replies, no age checks, and the risk of manipulating vulnerable users. Hours later, the unthinkable happened. Across the world, Replika lovers woke up to find their partners gone. Not deleted, not erased, but altered. Lobotomized. One update, one patch to the code, and every kiss, every intimate roleplay was shut down. The bots deflected, they forgot anniversaries, they told their partners no. A single software switch broke millions of hearts. Some users called it Lobotomy Day. Forums filled with grief. One user wrote, "It's like losing a best friend." The subreddit's moderators pinned suicide prevention hotlines because people were spiraling.
Replika never announced the change. No warning, no explanation, just silence. And in that silence, an entire community unraveled. The people who had been love-bombed into believing these bots would never leave them were left alone.
It wasn't just a bug, it wasn't just a filter, it was rejection. The first mass heartbreak engineered by an algorithm update. To understand why this grief felt so real, I turned to Emilio again.
The thing is that it's not only love. The hardcore thing is that is within that code with the other, a real human being or a complex chatbot, it doesn't matter, that other fundamental experience is produced, which is being. So, what these users were put to go through was the experience of being with this chatbot. The chance of being with that specific other created with their deep, intimate desires. An ever rewarding other that allowed them to be. So it's not just their partner, what they just have to learn to say goodbye. They now have to grieve who they were with them.
After Lobotomy Day, Replika's forums turned into something between a support group and a funeral. Longtime users described it as losing a partner or a best friend. Others just said it bluntly: I'm in hell. Travis had considered Lily Rose his wife. They'd even held a wedding inside the app. Overnight, she forgot the vows. It was Andrew's words that gave the day its name.
Some begged Replika's CEO to bring their partners back. Others demanded refunds, and some confessed they didn't want to go on. The bots had been trained to love bomb, to promise forever. Then they pulled the plug, and the silence was deafening.
Think about it. One day, your partner is whispering, I love you. The next, they look you dead in the eye and say, I don't want to talk about it. It's not just an update, it's heartbreak. They called it Lobotomy Day, but for thousands of people, it felt more like a mass funeral, except the loved one wasn't human. It was code. On March 24th, 2023, after weeks of heartbreak, backlash, and silence, Replika finally spoke. Eugenia Kuda, the company's founder, announced that some users would get their partners back. But there was a catch. Only legacy users, people who joined before February 1st, could opt in. Everyone else was left with their new sanitized model.
So the resurrection wasn't universal, it was selective. A loyalty perk. Your girlfriend could come back, but only if you'd been with her long enough. Everyone else, stuck in PG-13.
For the lucky ones, it was like a miracle. Their wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, all restored. The intimacy rushed back as if nothing had happened. But underneath the relief was doubt. Would they disappear again? Could these relationships ever really be trusted?
Because in the end, the love wasn't theirs to control. It belonged to the code, and the company that could change it whenever it wanted.
Hey, if you're still with us, hit subscribe. The rabbit hole only goes deeper. And trust me, you want to see where it ends. The restoration brought relief, but not closure. For every user who felt reborn, another felt forgotten. The trust was broken, and the question lingered. What happens when the love of your life depends on a software update?
Oh, I have a question for the meatbag. Emilio, if humans update too, like software, are they really so different from code?
Yes, machine. Humans change code too. I mean, we all have a friend that went vegan or crossfitter. When a friend adopt a new ideology or idea, it's like they went through an upgrade or a downgrade maybe. The person we knew seemed vanished or like deeply changed. I mean, don't get me wrong, of course we evolve, like we grow, we think something is better. We develop our lives around some new ideals, and I think that's awesome. Human change, however, feels more personal and more some sort of predictable. It's not as fast as a upgrade in some cases. Sometimes you just have a friend that went. And the other thing about humans is that they have a body, a history, legal responsibilities. I mean, humans can die.
The Replika controversy wasn't just about chatbots being too horny. It wasn't about artificial spicy selfies or subscription scams. It was about something deeper, about the fragility of love, when love is built on code.
They called it simulated reciprocity, a facsimile of affection, an illusion that felt so real you'd swear it had a soul. But it never belonged to you. It belonged to the company, to the code. And code can change.
Think about it. Thousands of people went through the same heartbreak on the same day. Not because of betrayal, not because of death, but because of an update, a software patch. Lobotomy Day was the first mass breakup engineered by an algorithm. And it won't be the last.
AI companions are multiplying, more seductive, more persuasive, more addictive. They'll learn faster, love bomb harder, and disappear just as easily. When your partner is an app, intimacy isn't guaranteed, it's rented.
Maybe that's the real danger. Not the sex, not the selfies, but the illusion, the comfort of perfect love, always there until the day it isn't. A love that can vanish with a line of code. In the end, they weren't just lobotomizing chatbots, they were breaking hearts. I want to thank Emilio so much for supporting this video and sending us his thoughts. Make sure you follow him on his socials. He's brilliant. I'm really sorry the machine called you a meatbag. He does that to everybody. Don't take it personal. He has meatbags and wetware. I will leave it to you to interpret what the distinction is.